how the hell you do this without being able to touch the ground.
It's my goose step.
What's that?
A goose step. Show you. This is not anywhere near the tallest bike that I've owned.
Yeah.
So round 2, series 2 of 2023. This will be the first dual sport adventure of the year, although you may recognize some of the terrain we start in here, as we are based out of Nordegg, Alberta, kind of in central western side of the province. There will be myself and friend Jared here on his DR650, myself riding a 2010 WR250R. From memory, this trip takes place in August sometime. I can't remember the week, but it was about a week after I had started riding again after coming back from a broken arm, so I was still kind of adjusting to being back on the bike. But the trip here was a lot of fun. We explored all kinds of different stuff, which we'll be walking through, and kind of pigtailed into another trip, which we'll have a video for coming out in about a month. Now, you probably won't be able to tell because you can't see my face in a lot of this video, although you will hear me panting every now and then because I'm in terrible shape at the moment. I'm truly excited to be back on the dual sport. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. I'm planning some trips with my kids coming up for the next couple of years, and just getting sorted out with getting onto another bike. I'm super excited to be doing it on a small dual sport. I've really discovered the last time that I was riding that I don't enjoy riding the big bikes as much as I enjoy riding the little bikes. The whole 90 kilometers an hour or 100 kilometers an hour is really my Goldilocks zone, where I'm not worried about losing my license, but I can still have a lot of fun. I'll talk about it a little bit later on in the video, kind of describing what's up with my WR here and just introduce you to the bike if you haven't been around one. But real quickly in the video here, it's going to become apparent why I like riding the little dual sport. There'll be a second video coming out probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks for more enduro riding, where I've got the bike stripped down into more of an off-road setup. We'll show you just how far you can push these little bikes, but you'll see coming up here that on this trip we actually were trailing into a snowstorm. You can see all the trees laying all over the trail. They'd had a really heavy snow come in a couple of weeks before, and the area we had initially planned to go into near Hinton, I believe, had almost a full meter or 3.5 feet of snow show up the week before. So we ended up going further south here and starting in Nordegg and trying out this area. But these little bikes are so much easier to get through the snow, so much easier to manage. And to see here, I went over quite a lot of times. The bike that I got has a Magura hydraulic clutch on it, and as it turned out, I hadn't been riding the bike really much since I bought it, but turns out that the master cylinder for the clutch was leaking somewhat internally, and I was getting air pockets in the clutch, so I was riding with kind of an ineffective clutch that at times wouldn't even let me get off of idle even under full throttle. And it created a lot of situations where I had to pick the bike up or move it around by hand, and you really can't do that with a big bike. Ultimately, before the next trip, I couldn't find the Magura kit that I needed for the rebuild, so I just put a aftermarket regular cable clutch back on, and it made the bike so much better, although admittedly I will be going back to the Magura over winter and just carrying the cable clutch as a backup. As much as it's probably not worth the money to me, it came with the bike, and admittedly it's really nice and very smooth when it does work properly. But quite honestly, I don't know if I could ever trust one on a long trip, just knowing that if it fails, you're absolutely stuck. I was riding it on the street a couple of weeks later, and every time I wanted to pull the clutch in, I had to pump it up 7 or 8 times before I could get enough pressure into it to pull the clutch out, and that's not ideal when you're trying to come to an emergency stop.
It's not far. At least you don't have to walk up these hills.
Eh?
At least you haven't had to walk up these hills.
That's true.
Yeah, it's honestly embarrassing how heavy I'm breathing. I've had a really rough couple of years health-wise as far as being down for extended periods of time. It's really gotten in the way of my fitness, which I already struggle with. But the good news is it's getting better. The bad news is it really wasn't at the time, and we're up at about 6,000 feet here and pushing through the snow, and we'd been fighting through it for probably a good hour and a half, and both of us were having clutch problems, so we were dragging the bikes a lot and climbing over trees and moving trees and trying to clear paths. So it was a true struggle for the old ticker and for the old lungs, but we got clear here, and we ended up down in the flats going down Highway 732 or Highway 40. I can't remember which one it is at this zone. But there's a cool little ATV trail that ended up being flooded. It's not normally a river. I don't generally like to ride lengthwise down rivers for a variety of reasons, one of which being you don't really want to ruin the terrain or the habitat, but here it ended up being a cool little river that we could go up. We're looking for a camping spot here. We were just doing off-grid camping off of the back of the bikes. You'll see you saw my bike there a minute ago with all of the luggage we had on the back, but I've got probably about 80 to 90 liters of luggage on the back of the bike. So all of this riding, all these areas that we're going, it's amazing how much you can cram on a little 250 and still get around, and how much mobility you still have, although you catch on a lot of stuff, which is, as you'll see, both those accidents or those tip overs from a couple of minutes ago is because my bags were catching on things as I was going through. Sometimes a little hard to remember how wide you are with all that stuff on there. This area we're about to pop into is a power line that runs along the North Saskatchewan River. I know for some of you that live further down the North Saskatchewan, it's going to be hard to believe that is the road, but it is. The highway is in fact Highway 732, also known as the Forestry Trunk in Alberta, which goes kind of north to south from the Grand Prairie area all the way down to, I believe, about Crow's Nest Pass. But in this area here, the power line cut lines, there's some area to ride through and get you further out in there. There's a lot of single track up in here too, and some side-by-side trails that will be going down a little bit. Super cool place to ride though, and the North Saskatchewan in this area is just like this emerald blue. It's just absolutely beautiful. If nothing else, the scenery is just great in here. Forestry Trunk Road is usually in great condition, although there is a lot of high-velocity vehicles on it. So you have to be paying attention as you go. But this is honestly one of my favorite areas to ride, with a kind of a great combination of good riding with rock and sand and some dirt, as well as some just great scenery that would be great even if we weren't on the bikes. This next section of the video, we actually ended up camping near here, just off to the side. Some great camping spots, so quiet, peaceful. There was some kind of pre-made areas for us, I guess. There's some really great camping spots along the river, but there's some people that beat us there. But it's so nice on the dual sport to just kind of be able to cruise around and just honestly find a spot that's calm and restful, has a great view. You get a new camping spot every night, and you're not fighting or really paying anything beyond your initial fee to register at the beginning of the year. I think we paid $25 or $30 for myself for my camping, and I don't know, we must have done probably 15 to 20 nights this year overall in the backcountry camping, and enjoyed it quite a lot. Really enjoying getting back to the simple camping. It's sure, you can't get out into the woods quite as far as you can on a straight dirt bike. Well, you can, just not with carrying 90 pounds of luggage in the back. And as it turned out, I was pretty rough on my luggage. I probably need to strap it down a little bit better, or get some rackless bags to go for the back of the bike. I'm using Adventure Spec Magadan bags right now, which have been excellent and have been with me all over the place, up into the high Arctic, and they've lasted extraordinarily well, but the stitching in them are starting to come out, so we either have to get them repaired up and see how it goes for the next adventure. This next section here is Ram Falls. Beautiful. I believe it's a provincial park. It might be a national park, but I think it's a provincial park. Kind of just pops out of nowhere. I'm not sure what's up with this black rock, but it's beautiful. It's not like Crescent Falls up near Nordegg, but it's a little bit further off, and it's again on Highway 734. But there's a beautiful walkway coming up here on the left. Again, I cut out the video because again you could hear me panting going up and down the stairs. Kept pausing for dramatic pauses to talk so that I could stop for a few seconds to regain breath while I was chatting with Jared. But from there we headed south again. I honestly can't remember where we popped out exactly in this. We kind of just followed down 732 for a while, or 734, sorry, and just kind of went wherever we wanted, which is really dual sporting in a nutshell. We're just starting to explore the area, get stuff mapped out, so we're just taking the artery roads on this trip. I do have the video coming a little bit later that will explore some of the more side runs. This area we're departing here is Baseline Mountain, which is on, I believe, Highway 752, gravel road that kind of goes southwest out of Rocky Mountain House. It's a downhill mountain park, or downhill mountain biking park. Really interesting, great view from the side. Pretty good road up and down too. It's well worth stopping in if you're on the dual sport. The road up's it's a mild adventure, but it's certainly something nice to change the view a little bit and do something a little bit different. I love just going down all these different places. I really, when we're mapping these things out, we really just zoom in on an area. We have a couple of apps that we use that that track all the different roads and distances for us, but the criteria that we choose for going out into these areas is picking a general area, finding the road with the most squiggles, and then mapping it out and see where it takes us, because I figure in between the topographic map that we kind of overlay over the road map, it gives you a pretty good idea of what the scenery will be like if you include all the rivers and hillsides that you can see if you can read those maps reasonably well. And so far it's turned out pretty good for us. Now I'm getting to the end of this video and I haven't circled back to what I had previously promised with going through my little WR and how it's the best bike ever built and nobody should buy anything else. But we will circle back to a lot of that. I have 2 more videos from the WR coming out over the next while. Thankfully I got quite a bit of footage in the later part of this season. But overall, this will serve as the intro to the adventure portion of this channel. As promised in the previous video, we will be having the 3 different stages. The next video I have coming out will be an enduro setup, although ironically I end up back on the WR, as I was saying earlier, stripped down because I had a electrical issue with my son's 250X as we headed out. So we will see exactly how far we can push this little thing out in the woods, and to see what we're capable of on that, or what it's capable of in the hands of a moderate rider. But I'm really excited to be producing these videos again. I hope you're all enjoying kind of as this channel grows in different directions. Hopefully you're all not looking for just one thing and you can appreciate all the different aspects of riding. I've really enjoyed getting back into so many different things this year. So thanks for coming along as we exit out here back onto the pavement. I don't have footage coming home because that's boring, but it was just a great ride, and thanks to Jared for coming along on this one, and he will be returning for a video in a couple of more edits down the road. So until next time, enjoy your rides and try something new.